My name is Kaitlyn. I'm 19 years old and I've been diagnosed with anxiety and depression as well as borderline personality disorder traits. I'm a first year nutrition science student, but I live here in Maui, Victoria. I didn't realise that I was mentally ill until after I was actually diagnosed with mental illness. I was misdiagnosed with asthma when I was about 7 or 8 years old. I was complaining about breathing problems. And then a few years later, after I started high school, I was really feeling this shortness of breath every day. It was just there, and that I just thought that's how it is, that's how people feel. And then it wasn't until I had a bit of an issue in year 8, I was having what I later learned was a panic attack. After I started feeling these symptoms, I went to the hospital because I was having chest pain and it felt really wrong. Like I felt like I was really, really sick, something bad was happening. But after I went to the hospital, I was checked for everything. I got an ECG and it turns out I was having a panic attack. And I didn't even know it was a thing, and I didn't know that was what it felt like. My dad and my mum split up when I was only 3, and I actually still remember my mum walking out on us, like crying through the screen door, kind of the blurry vision kind of thing, and that's just it kind of stuck with me. And two years after that, we hadn't seen my mum very often. My dad got with his new partner. She was my stepmom. And he had a kid with her. We've got a big family, sorry, a bit jumbled. We've got a big family. I've got 5 sisters, and only 2 of them are to the same parents, and the rest are to different mums, different dads, very mixed family. My stepmom was also quite abusive as well, like beating us, and my dad was just not really there. He was very quiet. He didn't like emotions very much. If he would cry, he wouldn't take us seriously. So when I was diagnosed with anxiety, I couldn't explain it to him. And if my sister was depressed or sad, he would just say, "Stop being a sook." Like, you know, just, he didn't get it. And he's just very absent. That's the word, isn't it? Anxiety feels like there's a weight on your chest constantly. And it feels like there's just a lot of pressure, and even on my face it just feels like strained. My neck, it hurts, and it's like very rigid, and also it's really, really hard to breathe. It's almost like no matter how much oxygen I breathe in, I can't get enough. And it's not like I'm hyperventilating, it's just I can't get enough in no matter how deep I breathe, and it's just this constant feeling of feeling restless, and I get a bit fidgety like I am now, kind of thing. I try not to make my mental illness like the center point of my life, even though I do a lot, because it's a big part of my life, because it affects me very greatly. But I try not to make it the first interesting thing about myself. I don't introduce myself like, "Hi, I'm Kaitlyn, the depressed one or the anxious one." I try to treat it as any other sickness. I'm Kaitlyn, but I have diabetes. Or, I'm Kaitlyn and I happen to be anxious. But it's not the most interesting thing about me, and I'll tell my friends when I need support. My friends were actually really understanding, and I feel like that's because there's so much media about mental illness right now. And it does affect so many people, so it's not hard to try to imagine what it might be like. I've seen a therapist for years, and one of the things is organising what I'm going to do if I get myself in a bad mental kind of situation. I work out, or I give myself a minute, I'll watch a movie, I'll cuddle with my partner, yeah. And I really found that working out really helps me be mindful of my body and my mind together. And yeah, it gives me time to think as well and clear my head. Yeah. I recently went vegan a bit over a year ago now, and I've actually found that's improved my mental health, because it's giving me something else to think about, something else to focus on, and it's not about me. And that's actually a really empowering thing, that there's more in this world than just me, and I don't need to be so much inside my head, and that it gives me something to focus on, to think about. Like, yeah, it gives me a purpose. For anybody else struggling with anxiety, depression, anything else, really, that it's not, how you feel right now is not going to be forever. You're going to feel better maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, but you're not going to feel this bad forever. It's going to get better. It might get bad again, but it's not forever.